Not Your Father's Zombies by Anthony Hadley. August 20th, 2016. So I'm recording these at night since I can't sleep. A lot of noise out there tonight. I'm not too worried though. I'm locked in the storeroom in the boarded up hole. What could I do anyways? So I buried Aaron the day after I stripped the cars. He may have been a major asshole as well as a blood-sucking zomb, but I didn't want to just leave him there to rot. I rolled the car back that was pinning him, and the body collapsed. Apparently it had worked. I kicked the head into a plastic bag and looped it around his foot. Then I dragged the body to the cemetery out behind the lot. I'd been hesitant to go out there, but it was a convenient place to bury him. The cemetery was old, but not ancient, and it was eerily quiet. Many of the tombstones were toppled over or shoved up out of the ground, and all of the graves had been dug up from the inside. Piles of dirt and shards of coffins surrounded the dozens of gaping holes that marred the previously well-manicured lawn. I marveled for a few moments at the strength it must have taken for the dead to dig themselves out. It was almost as if they had exploded from the ground. That's when it really hit me. The wave had started right there. I still wonder what could have caused it all. I can't prove it, but I'm sure the same thing must have happened at other cemeteries. Maybe all of them. All over the world. I may never know, but I hope to find out someday, some way, somehow. I drug Zomb Aaron to the far edge of the cemetery. Thankfully, he wasn't some roided-out jock, but it still took me a while to get him that far. I just didn't feel comfortable burying him that close to the hole, and I figured it was worth the work. I dropped him into an open grave and went to get a shovel. I got a few yards past the demolished fence before I saw them. 4 zombs plodding aimlessly through the lot. They saw me or caught my scent or something and turned right toward me. I froze for half a second before turning to run back through the fence. They were freshies and they were fast. I felt one of them grab at my shirt as I leapt over the broken fence. I was sure I was done for. I was going to die in that cemetery, even after all my preparations, my planning. It wasn't until I was a ways into the cemetery that I realized I wasn't dead, and I was no longer being followed. I glanced over my shoulder and stopped running. I could see the zombs, still at the edge of the fence. They no longer looked blood-crazed like they had when they saw me. They looked almost lost, confused. As I watched, they turned from the opening to the cemetery and began moving along the fence, back toward the entrance to the lot. It was almost like they couldn't see me. None of them had crossed the broken fence into the cemetery. It's a mystery I'm still working out. I waited there at the edge of the lot for about 30 minutes, until the freshies were out of the entrance and well away. I made the dash to the hole and back with that shovel in no time. I spent the rest of the day moving as many of the cars as I could to barricade the entrances. It took me 2 days to move what cars were left and place them along the fence line. I wanted as secure a barrier as I could get from the zombs, but I'd need a lot more cars. Today I was up on the roof watching about a dozen zombs plodding across a nearby field. They were headed straight for the cemetery, and I hoped they kept that direction so I didn't have to test the strength of my car-supported fence. The first of the zombs reached the edge of the cemetery, and he just stopped. I mean, it was like he hit a wall and stopped dead in his tracks. Pun intended. After a moment, the zomb turned and started walking along the edge of the cemetery, away from the hole, thankfully. One by one, the wave did the same as that first zomb. For some reason, they would not, or could not, enter the cemetery. It was an amazing thing to watch. A dozen zombs halted by nothing but the edge of a manicured lawn.